There's a couple of seats.
You have to stay the whole time if you sit on the front.
Yeah. Okay, everybody good? It is 5 p.m. The quorum is present and the meeting has been duly called and posted in the time and manner required by law. I'd like to invite Dan Preston, Senior Pastor at Bethany Baptist Church, to open the meeting with a prayer and lead the audience in the pledges to the American and Texas flags.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you today for the opportunity that we have because of your Son to enter into your throne room and have conversation with you. We thank you for the blood that was shed on the cross so that we could have salvation. Lord, I thank you for our school board. I thank you for every administrator. I thank you for every teacher. God, I ask that you'd put your hand upon them, guide them, and give them wisdom. Lord, it's the desire of everybody in this room to see this next generation grow in wisdom and be successful in their lives. And so, Lord, I pray that you would help every decision that is made, that it would be guided by Scripture, through your Spirit. We'd look first and foremost to you and then do what's best for these children. We thank you for all that you've done and all that you're going to do. In Jesus' precious name, amen. If you'd remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag, then the Texas flag. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Dan. Moving on to recognitions, I would like to invite Cesar De Leon, the Executive Director of Fine Arts, to the podium to recognize the 2025 Holiday Card Art Contest winners.
Howdy, everybody. It's so nice to see y'all. What a wonderful way to start. So President Curry, Superintendent Rolo, and Board of Trustees. Today, I'm very excited and delighted to present you with our Holiday Art Contest winners. These students created the holiday cards through the district, and I mean, it was a wonderful, wonderful event. Each year, Lubbock ISD Fine Arts hosts a holiday card competition. For this year's competition, 129 students participated. Artwork from all 30 finalists is on display at Central Office, so when you get a chance, swing by during the month of December. The top 2 students from each division, elementary, middle, and high, had their winning artwork made into the Lubbock ISD District Holiday Cards for 2025. The 2025 Holiday Card Contest winners are as follows. So you guys ready? I'm very excited. For elementary school, we have second place winner, Jaden Hall. He is in 5th grade at Irvin Elementary, and his art teacher is Zach Shope. Come on down. In first place, we have for elementary division, Caleb Solis, 5th grade at Waters Elementary, and his art teacher is, I flipped it around. Jaden Hall, who's in 5th grade at Urban Elementary, and his art teacher is Zach Shope. Come on down. Thank you, Caleb. Way to go. Absolutely, Dr. Roll. So if we could have a group picture with our elementary students, their teachers, and if their principals are available as well. Come on down.
Come on back in here.
Mr. Shobe and Ms. Weidman from Waters and Irvin.
You guys both look sharp.
For our middle school division, in first place, we have Alan Baez, 8th grader at Cavazos Middle School, and his art teacher is Kat Argueta. Her art teacher is Kat Argueta. Thank you. And in second place, we have Ania Miller, 7th grader at Talkington School for Young Women Leaders, and our teacher is Clarissa Bell. Come on down. And now we can take a group picture with our middle school division. So Ms. Argueta and Ms. Bell, if you guys want to come up with their principals. And now for our high school division. In first place, we have Albi Hernandez, senior at Monterey High School, and the art teacher is Thomas Reel. And in second place, we have Judith Mata, sophomore at Monterey High School, and the art teacher is Tyler Humphrey. And let's take a group picture. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, one more picture.
One more.
So many pictures.
We will now move on to recognition of the Thespian Festival National Qualifier.
That's right, President Curry. A group of 14 students from Talkington School for Young Women Leaders participated in the Texas Thespians Festival, November 19th through the 22nd in Grapevine, Texas. 9 Talkington students advanced as national qualifiers. Talkington School for Young Women Leaders also had its first scholarship recipient, Leah White. Leah was one of only 37 students awarded, and she received a $1,450 scholarship. In addition, Catherine Lituania made Talkington history by getting a main stage callback, meaning she had a perfect score from all 5 judges. So congratulations to the following Talkington students for advancing to the National Thespians Festival. We have Leah White. We have Faith Barbie. Catherine Lituania. Araceli Carlson. Claire Taylor. Kendall McCammond. Hagen Klafka. Madison Ames. And Briley Rakel. And if we could get a group picture. Also have to say, board members, that Emily Hooper, the incredible Emily Hooper, serves as a proud theater director at Talkington School for Young Women Leaders. Come on down, Ms. Hooper.
Continuing with Mr. De Leon, we will now recognize the Texas Art Education Association Award winner recipients.
That is correct, President Curry. The Texas Art Education Association has announced Mr. Matthew Ride from Coronado High School as the recipient of the 2025 Texas Art Education Association Outstanding Art Educator. That's one person from the whole state of Texas. That's right. This award recognizes significant contribution and efforts through years of service to TAEA and art education at the state, local, and national level. TAEA honors our members and supporters through recognition of their continued efforts and significant achievements in art education. And President Curry, it's definitely worth noting, board members, that in addition to this award, Lubbock ISD has also been named a TAEA District of Distinction for the 7th year in a row. Our district is one of only 16 out of the whole state, so we're very proud and of Mr. Wright. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure you don't want to give out a few more?
Next time.
Your parents need time to rotate? No? Okay. Continuing with recognitions, I'd like to invite Jolie Luce, Assistant Athletic Director, to the podium in recognition of cross-country, volleyball, and team tennis athletic awards. And Ms. Luce, we need the same energy that Mr. De Leon needs.
We often follow fine arts in a lot of our presentations, and so sadly, we do not bring the same energy, but we do try to feed off of it and work together hand in hand. Just like they provide a lot of energy on Friday nights at football, they also do that at the board meetings, and we appreciate them for that, for sure. All right, today we're really excited to recognize 22 student athletes from Estacado, Coronado, Monterey, and Lubbock High who have achieved notable recognition from their respective sports. They compete in cross-country, volleyball, or team tennis. These students received awards from various athletic organizations, including the Texas High School Coaches Association, the UIL, and the Texas Girls Coaches Association throughout the season so far. So we're going to start with our honorees from Estacado High School. First, we have Yasmia Lopez. She plays volleyball and received the THSCA Academic All-State Second Team recognition. Next, we have Kamira O'Neill, also a volleyball player with THSCA Academic All-State Second Team recognition, and these ladies are coached by Gloria Maestas. Staccato picture.
Hold on, okay. Yes, please. Principal and coach.
You don't have to be, you get to be.
Yes, you
Yes, ma'am.
That's actually an
Pretend your mother's up here, okay?
Oscar, step forward. Goes, ready?
All right, next we have honorees from Lubbock High School. First, we have Arturo Rodriguez, who's a cross-country athlete who's a UIL state qualifier. Next, we have Amelia Anderson for cross-country. She is on the THSCA Super Elite team, is a UIL state qualifier, is all-state, and is on the TGCA all-state team. We have Emery Stice, a volleyball athlete, who is on the THSCA Academic All-State second team, TGCA Academic All-State. And to wrap up Lubbock High's honorees, we have Taylor Waden, a volleyball athlete. She is THSCA Academic All-State second team and TGCA Academic All-State. These athletes are coached by Michael Sparks and Matt Leisman.
Y'all couldn't have shared with other people? Take them all.
Okay, y'all take a step to your left. There we go.
Man, have to, get to. Remember the book? See, get to.
Next, we have our athletes from Monterey High School. First up, we have Gabby Garcia for volleyball. Gabby is an America Volleyball Coaches Association Best and Brightest, third team, THSCA Academic All-State Honorable Mention, and TGCA Academic All-State. We have Madison Dubree for volleyball. She's THSCA Academic All-State, Honorable Mention. We have Emerson Satterfield for volleyball. Okay, she is THSCA Academic All-State, Honorable Mention. For cross country, we have Antonio Rodriguez. Antonio is THSCA Academic All-State, Honorable Mention. And we have Araya Puga. She's cross country, THSCA Academic All-State Honorable Mention, and TGCA Academic All-State. We also have Hannah Hughes for cross country. Hannah is a UIL state qualifier and TGCA All-State, and these athletes are coached by Kelly Lozada and Krista Jones.
Maybe 2 rows, maybe for the taller folks in the back. Maybe.
One, two, and three. And one more. Good.
Okay, our final school today will be Coronado High School. Up first for cross country, we have Ellis Jackson. Ellis is a UIL state qualifier this year. For volleyball, we have Caitlin Olguin. She is THSCA Academic All-State Second Team and TGCA Academic All-State. Also for volleyball, we have Haley Parrott Curtis. THSCA Academic All-State Second Team, TGCA Academic All-State. Our last volleyball player is Mallory Holdman. Mallory is THSCA Academic All-State Second Team, TGCA Academic All-State. Additionally, Mallory is the first Coronado female athlete to earn the Great Texas Ford Dealers 5A Female Athlete of the Month. Coronado also has some team tennis recognitions. So to start that off is Henley Christodoulou. Henley is THSCA Academic All-State First Team. Owen Edwards. Owen is also THSCA Academic All-State First Team. Lily McMinn. Lily is THSCA Academic All-State Second Team. Spencer Swindell. THSCA Academic All-State Second Team. And Easton Vera. He's THSCA Academic All-State Honorable Mention. And these athletes are coached by Amy Withrow, Candy Stevens, and Brent Chamberlain.
Yep, everybody gets to come back up.
Let's do 2 rows. Some of you taller got right there in the middle. 2 rows. For this group, you are ready. Gotta all act like we like each other. You just didn't want to come up. Gosh, man.
And we'll hold up your certificates. Good. He goes, ready? 1, 2, and 3.
Great job. Great job, brothers. Time for people to come in, or is everybody else? Okay, while everybody's marching out, I'd like to invite Misty Reber, Chief Academic Officer, to the podium in recognition of Texas Statewide Network of Assessment Professionals Region 17 Award recipient.
Yes, so Lubbock ISD is proud to announce that the Executive Director of Assessment and Accountability, Miranda Rubalcaba, was recently recognized at the annual Texas Assessment Conference in Round Rock with the Texas Statewide Network of Assessment Professionals, or TSNAP, for Region 17 Award. The conference is Texas' statewide conference for assessment, testing, and accountability across K-12 and post-secondary education. Miranda exemplifies the spirit and collaboration within our region. She consistently goes above and beyond to support others, sharing valuable resources, best practices, and her time to strengthen assessment and accountability efforts, not just in Lubbock ISD, but across the entire region. Her willingness to collaborate and contribute to the success of her peers in Lubbock ISD, our region, and across public education make her a vital asset to all regional networks. Congratulations.
We'll shake your hand on the way out.
We'll catch you. We won't let you go.
Yeah. We might tackle you.
Remember you put the plastic in the little numbers and put it in the oven? Y'all may need to scoot to me a little.
Here goes. Ready? 1, 2, and 3.
I will now open the floor for trustee comments.
Start all those student athletes and artists and fine arts students are amazing, but Miranda, you are amazing too, because I don't know how you do it. That's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of number crunching. So thank you for what you do for us.
I think we had elementary, middle, high school, educator, administrator recognitions, and I believe all 5 high schools. Is that right? That's awesome. So great day for recognitions. As always, great day to be a Lubbock ISD person. So congrats to everyone. Thanks for all your work.
Just with the fine arts focus, for part of the recognitions, I just wanted to remind folks the Nutcracker is going on, and Dr. Rolo is going to be on Saturday at the matinee.
Thank you for that.
Mother Ginger. And so that is a huge commitment, both financially and time. And so I want to be sure and thank you for making that contribution to our community. Also to add that the two professional dancers, Lori Wilson and Bashawn Williams, are both products of Lubbock ISD. So I think it's one more way that we don't know the impact these great fine arts programs have across visual and performing and all the things on people's lives. So I'm so proud that Lubbock ISD, in great partnership with Buddy Holly Hall, that we are able to reinforce that with our students.
Can't reiterate all what Nancy just said, but there's also the POM teacher from Coronado. Is that one of the ladies you mentioned? That she's also in the Nutcracker. We went last night. It was a full house. It was phenomenal. We're going to go again. My grandson loved it, so we're going to do this again. But congratulations to the teachers, the staff, as my colleague just said. Everybody across the board, job well done. And Mr. Daniel, thank you wherever you're at for all that you do, and you're just fresh of breath there, to be real honest with you. You're just always smiling. There's not a bad day in your day, and if it is, it doesn't show. So thank you, and God bless you guys, and have a Merry Christmas, everybody. God bless you.
Thank you, Nancy and Lala, for mentioning that. I appreciate that so much, just seeing and hearing all of the excellence.
There's not much better than an elementary student showing off their art. The smile just lights up the room. And so as we close in on Christmas, I think that's a great thing to celebrate and recognize. And also, Miss Luce, you did well. You held your own. I'd venture to guess that Mr. De Leon probably can't rebound, as well as some other people. So we'll call it even.
We all have our gifts. Thank you to all the comments up here, and just want to wish our staff and students and their families a very Merry Christmas, and I hope lots of folks get to relax and rejuvenate and get ready for a strong second semester. Moving on, I'm sorry, Dr. Rolla, did you have any comments before?
I'm just incredibly grateful for the wonderful programs we offer in Lubbock ISD, and today was a perfect example of how we offer such a wonderful wide variety of ways for our students to excel, and so blessed to have wonderful professionals working with our students and working with our schools and our staff, with Mr. Wright and Mrs. Rubalcaba. So we're just incredibly blessed with amazing people working with our schools.
Did we have any citizen sign up for comments? No? Okay. Moving on to financials, approval of budget summary report, budget amendments, and budget transfers, statement of taxes collected, and the investment report for the month of October 2025. Nathan Shortis.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, President Curry, members of the board, Dr. Rollo. Thank you so much for this opportunity to fill in for Dr. Wilkins while he's Out of the office, we do have the financials for October today. It's following the normal cadence that we usually do due to the early meetings in November and December. We are going to catch up after the holidays. So
Nancy, where is
on this first page for the general fund, you can see we're about 40% of the way through our budget, which is good. We're a third of the way through the year, but we have
There's
some
no paper.
front-loaded expenditures due to early purchases to get the year started, and then the TIA funds as well. So those go out in August. So that's why we're ahead of where we're at in the month. Moving on to food service, we're on track there. Everything looks good. Debt service, we're making our payments on time. No issues there to report. And then moving on to capital projects fund, we are excited to see some expenditures start to roll through out of the new bond. So we're getting some very valuable technology pieces out of those closed campuses and getting them stored so that way we can read throughout the district. Looking at the Head Start one, they are 66% of the way through their grant cycle, but 55% of the way through their grant. They're doing a fantastic job. They have some later expenditures that they do at the end of the year to help balance that out. They do some spring field trips and stuff to help expend that out. And then Head Start's always really good to us and allowing us to have a carryover. And so if that need arises, then we will bring that to y'all to approve that carryover application. Moving next on to the amendments, you can see that large one down there at the bottom. That's the recognition of the Schneider fund balance. And so that money that we had left over from that at the end of the year last year, we brought that forward into this year to start making payments again on that. On the transfers, that very first one there, adjust budget to clear negatives. That can be kind of confusing if you're not aware, and so I'm going to bring that to your attention. Think of it as what we do at the end of the year. It's that final budget amendment. We're doing that now to kind of adjust the functions since we report and adopt the budget on functions. We had some stuff that we budgeted in other functions that actually came out of different functions, so we did that adjustment there. Moving on to the tax collections, things are looking good. We are catching up on the delinquent taxes, so we've got most of what we budgeted collected in the month of October. We actually collected almost half of what we budgeted in October for delinquent taxes. That's really good. We appreciate our LCAD for seeking those out. The next one is from LCAD. This is what they send us. That first one is what Tim in our office, our treasurer, puts together. This is from LCAD. Practically the same information, so we appreciate them sending that report. The next one is also from LCAD there. You can see that is their fiscal year, October to September, and so they're in their first month of collections, and so we're on track there with about less than a 1% collection, which is as expected in the first month. The next one is the investment report. We're holding steady about that 4.5% investment return, which is fantastic. Anytime we mention offhand to anybody in the school district business or investment business across the state that we're receiving 4.5%, they're dumbfounded. And so we really appreciate our relationship with Plains Capital Bank and look forward to seeing that grow in the future. As you can see right below that, the average tax pool rate that we're getting right now is 4.15%. And so we're getting a fantastic deal with Plains Capital Bank. We really appreciate their partnership. Next is the cash flow statement. We're chugging right along, on track. We're a little less than what we estimated, but that's due to just some grant expenditures that we haven't spent yet and received the funds back. And so things are just a little slower than expected on the grant spending, but that's to be expected due to the nature of the state of our finances in the district. So moving on is you have percent of attendance by campus, and so that breaks down all of the campuses and their respective grade levels. And so at the very end, you'll see that we're about 94% attendance rate through the month of October, through November 21st. And so we're really thankful for that. Our attendance rate is improving. The next one is percentage by grade level across the district, and so you see that same 94%. And then last but not least, on the last few pages is you have enrollment, and so you have enrollment through the same day for the last 10 years. You can see that steady decline that we're estimating. And then on the last one, on the very last page, you see that we're down across the district about 900 students. But thankfully, during the budget cycle, we look at 20 years worth of data to project out. And so thankfully, y'all approved a pretty decent decrease in ADA. And so that has allowed us to be conservative in that estimate, and so we are covering not all of that 900 student decrease, but a good portion of it. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Dr. Rollo, this may be more appropriate for you to ask. How does that 94% attendance seems low? I thought it was lower than it was last year, and so is that low, or is it just the fall is lower than the spring, or?
We have not recovered from where we were pre-COVID.
Okay.
But we have made some increases. We can get you a year over year for the last several years.
Yeah, that might be helpful, because I know there was an initiative that working on attendance, because we know how important that is.
Our
So,
principals have been very diligent
Yeah.
about doing things to incentivize attendance on their campuses. So we're very proud of that. But again, we're not back to where we were pre-COVID.
yeah, okay.
What sort of things are they doing on campus to bring those up?
They'll do attendance award parties for kids who have perfect attendance. We partner with the Rotary Club and do a drawing for 2 bicycles on every elementary campus. They do
Phone calls,
all
home
kinds of
visits,
things. Yeah.
the
Yes, our
attendance officers.
follow up as well.
They have been.
Put that in there that they're busy just as well as the rest are. Okay, good to know what they're doing. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions or comments? No? Before I ask for a motion, I do want to remind my colleagues, due to law changes, we will now do approval by hand as opposed to eye. So, do I have a motion to approve the October 2025 financial reports as presented?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by a show of hands. Those opposed, please show your hands. Motion carries 7-0.
You have to get used to that.
Thank you to those in Austin for that change. Moving on, consent agenda. Consider board approval of the minutes for the regular meeting and the workshop held November 13th, 2025. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the November meeting of the board as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by a show of hands. Those opposed, please show your hands. Motion carries
John put it the other way.
7-0. Moving on to academic action items, approval of school library advisory council operating procedures. Dr. Rollo.
Yes, so several months ago, the board, you approved that the district form a school library advisory council. And then you also helped appoint people to be voting members of this council. These are supposed to be parents of current students in the district, and they also have to live within Lubbock ISD's attendance boundaries. So I want to start by thanking you. You guys submitted an outstanding group of voting members, and we have some non-voting members as well who are part of this council. They've had one full meeting, and the date of that was not too long ago, and in November. And then they had a subcommittee meeting today. And both of those were open meetings, and we did have quite a few members of our public who attended that. So both of the next 2 items are related to that. So I'll turn it over to Misty to share a little bit more information about what you're actually considering tonight.
Absolutely. So the first one are the operating procedures. We met on November 18th. SLAC unanimously voted to present these to you. They follow SB 13. They set up the rules for how often they have to meet, who the members are, what the membership looks like, and what their authority is. They are direct quotes from the law, so they're not wavering outside of that. They did give themselves some flexibility. The law says that they have to meet twice a year. They know that they will have to meet more often than that, especially in this first year as we try to bring you procedures and practices and policies. But they kept it at the 2 per year with the option for them to call for additional meetings. And so at the end of each meeting, they will call for another meeting. They've already got one scheduled in January. And then they also called for a subcommittee to work on challenges that they should have a proposal ready for you to review in February. So this is just their operating procedures.
This is their recommendation.
This is their recommendation. It was a unanimous recommendation from November 18th, yes.
Any questions? Before I ask for a motion, I would thank my colleagues for their recommendations, but I'd also like to publicly thank those 7 folks who are on the committee, and remind those who may bring objections to them that they are volunteering. They're taking a role on that I don't think many would want to take on, and so just to our staff and to the public, please be cognizant of the fact that they're parents, they're volunteers, and God bless them. Do I have a motion to approve the SLAC operating procedures submitted and approved by the School Library Advisory Council?
Also move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by a show of hands. Those opposed, please show your hands. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to approval of SLAC library acquisition and weeding procedures. Dr. Rollo?
Yes, I'll ask Ms. to share this.
So in the same meeting, SLAC discussed at length what the procedures would look like for librarians to purchase books that match SB 13, match current procedures, and are reasonable that we could move forward. So what you have in front of you is an acquisition proposal that librarians would bring forward a list of books. In their list of books, they would have to cite book reviews that are part of Destiny, that are part of our system. That list of books would then go to the public, as is required by law, for 30 days. It will be published to take public feedback. Then the public feedback and the list of books would go to SLAC. SLAC will evaluate the list of books and the public feedback. They will discern if the whole list comes to you or if they will strike through some of the books on the list. Then that list of books will come to you as the board. You will have the right as the board to vote for the purchase of the books, but you can also strike out by line item any books that you do not want to approve. At that time, then a librarian can go back and buy the book. We are looking at making this procedure effective once in the spring and once in the fall. If you think about the timeline I just named and how often SLAC meets and you meet and 30 days in a public space, it's going to take us a minimum of 3 months to be able to do a purchase. So SLAC was supportive that we will work this spring to make sure we hit the May 1st requisition deadline to make sure that we can get it through if this is approved tonight. And then we'll be ready to do it again next fall and again the following spring. In addition, this has a process for weeding. Weeding is what a librarian does when a book is completely damaged and can no longer be read, or it's lost and we don't actually have the book any longer. We need an approved system to take it out of the system and say that it is no longer a part of their library collection. This was a pretty easy, it's just something that the librarians have been on hold. So they have been waiting to purchase and waiting to weed. So one of our librarians said today, I have 3 carts ready to be weeded, but I've been holding them until we know that we have approval to do that. So SLAC again voted for this unanimously to bring forward to you as an acquisition and weeding process. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can you talk about, prior to all of this, if they had a book and they brought it forth, they can actually bring it back again, or how does that work? You explained it to us, but I'd like for everyone else.
Yes, so when it talks about an acquisition, if the librarian were to bring forward a book, and after community comment, if SLAC strikes out that book, it will not come to you. If SLAC pushes that through and you strike that out, then they're not allowed to purchase. Part of the challenge and review process that they'll bring to you next is that books can be re-reviewed every 2 years. So that's within the SB 13 law.
I would just say to President Curry's point, this is obviously a huge lift, and thanks to the intelligence of my colleagues, this was something that we asked very gracious volunteers to help us with, because some school boards are doing this on their own. By all of the words that you just said, it's an awful lot of work. In the meantime, we're not buying books. We're getting all of these procedures in place. So I want to thank the board for bringing names forward but thank this committee for
Yes.
doing this work and doing it this quickly so that we can get books purchased again and
Absolutely.
put in our libraries.
Yeah,
So
and we're very grateful to each of you. They are incredible volunteers. They are passionate about what they're doing. They're committed to what they're doing. The requirement from the law does not require as much as they are willing to do, but they're willing to do that because they care about our librarians and they care about our kids.
Just to go ahead. So just to clarify, so with this process and all the things you just named and all that, so that means it's going to be like May before they can submit an acquisition
Yes, ma'am.
again?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
they're going to go a whole
They'll go an
school
entire
year
school year without purchasing.
without purchasing any new books. And
Yes,
that-
ma'am.
Yeah. But
Yes,
we,
ma'am.
we appreciate the people who've worked to do this so quickly and implement this
Absolutely.
late arriving legislation. But that is a little disheartening. They go a whole year with no new books.
Yes.
I'm not even sure if you usually say this, but I'll let you decide that. But I just kind of wanted to hit on, if you're able to, on the librarians, because they were disheartened about their pay and all this good stuff. Is this an opportunity to be able to say, hey, you know what, they're going to be getting a stipend because of the extra work? Or what was it we decided?
Well, do you want to talk about the
Yes,
Chromebook?
so you guys at a previous meeting approved a stipend for our Chromebook managers. And in most cases, a campus Chromebook manager is the librarian. Not in all cases, but in most. So that was an extra stipend we were able to provide. Our librarians also received the 3% raise that non-teachers received. But I'm grateful for them because they have been very patient. They understand that this was coming out of legislation, and we really don't have a whole lot of choice in some of this. But we appreciate what they do on our campuses.
Yeah.
Well, now it's.
Yeah, I'm very much so. Absolutely.
Do you have a motion to approve the Slack Library acquisition and weeding procedures submitted and approved by the School Library Advisory Council?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by a show of hands. Those opposed, please show your hands. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to administrative action items, approval of the 2024-2025 Annual Financial and Compliance Report. Dr. Rollo.
Yes, so last month, Dr. Wilkins and our auditor, Trey Rowe, came to the meeting and presented the audit. At that time, we went into pretty detailed information around the audit, but we were not able to move forward with approving it on the same day like we normally do because of the government shutdown. We were waiting on some federal things to get through so that we could approve it. So all we're asking for you to do, there are no changes to it, but we just are asking you to approve the audit that was reviewed last month. And I will try to answer any questions, but.
Do I have a motion to approve the Annual Financial and Compliance Report for the Lubbock Independent School District for the 2024-2025 fiscal year?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by a show of hands. Those opposed, please show your hands. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to procurement and contracts, approval of district purchases. Dr. Rollo.
Yes, so we just have 2 items for you today, and we're excited because both of these are helping us spin down some of our food service surplus that we have. And so this is buying some new kitchen equipment for Atkins Middle School. It will replace the equipment that's in their serving line with new updated equipment, as well as several elementary schools, Roscoe Wilson, Miller, Machen, Centennial, also McCool Academy, and Evans Middle School. So I want to thank Lori Johnson for her work on this, and this is exciting. And again, this is coming out of food service.
Do I have a motion to approve the district purchases as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by show of hands. Those opposed, please show your hands. Motion carries 7-0. That ends the regular portion of our board meeting. We will now move on to the workshop. I would like to invite Sarah Garcia, coordinator of bilingual and ESL programs, to the podium to present.
While Sarah's coming forward, Sarah is new to Lubbock ISD in this role and is doing a fabulous job. She came to us from a nearby district, and we are so happy to have her bring her expertise to Lubbock ISD.
Welcome, Sarah.
Good evening. It's nice to meet you guys and see some familiar faces.
Hey, Sarah, will you put the mic down so?
Oh, can you hear me now? I'm really happy to be here in Lubbock ISD and at a district that truly values and supports the bilingual and ESL programs. So I know Margaret wasn't able to do the program evaluation for you guys last year, so I'm kind of play catch up with the 24-25 data, as well as look at the numbers for this year. So our EB numbers over the past 5 years typically have grown every single year, but if you look at the 25-26 school year, I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen something like this where we've dropped numbers of our emergent bilingual students. It's only about 80 students, but that was pretty interesting to me when I started pulling those reports. So we do usually get a spike after Christmas break, but all of these numbers were captured at the end of October. So as of right now, we're just lower than we've ever been, well, since last year. And since the majority of our students are served in an ESL program, we have about 1,100 students in that. And then looking at our bilingual numbers, we're about 600 students. That's our dual language programs at Harwell, McWhorter, and Bean. We have 18 students this year whose parents have denied ESL or bilingual services, which is pretty normal. And then our non-EB students, our English-speaking students that are served in our bilingual programs, we are about 113, which is right on track. The reported languages in Lubbock ISD, this has increased since the 23-24 school year. I'm not sure what last year's was, but that was only 39 languages, and so now we're up to 48 different languages. Spanish is still the most spoken language of the first language here, so we do send our information home in English and Spanish. And when we need to, we do work with our foreign language department in Texas Tech to find interpreters for some of these other languages when the need comes. Okay, so we're going to start with the ESL overview because that's where the majority of our students are. This is English as a second language. Ideally, our students are served on their home campus, and they receive those ESL services with their RLA teacher who's ESL certified. So they address their language proficiency levels, adding in those accommodations, and ensuring students are receiving equitable education. Of course, we have our newcomer students too, from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. And those are students who have been here in the United States for 3 years or less. And as you can imagine, it can be quite challenging in upper elementary or middle or high school to be a newcomer and not speak English here. So we do have a newcomer class at every middle and high school, which is amazing. And that's a class period where our newcomer students come together with an ESL certified teacher to help them acquire English and help them be successful in school. At the elementary level, we provide special newcomer classes at Honey, Ramirez, and Centennial. So parents do have the option to transfer their students to one of these campuses. If they want to stay at their home campus, we have hired a full-time ESL itinerant teacher, and she serves 19 newcomers at different campuses. And we've recently hired an ESL tutor who now serves 10 more students. Our newcomer numbers, this is over the past 4 years. This one's fluctuated a little bit. In the program evaluation that I printed for you guys, the numbers are a little off. I had to recalculate today. But this year we have about 36 elementary students who have been here for less than 3 years and 100 secondary students. We have to submit an ESL waiver every year. And those are for our RLA teachers who have EBs in their classes who don't have their ESL certification yet. And so last year we filed a waiver for for 119 teachers, and this year we filed it for 77. So we like to see those numbers decreasing. Out of the 77 teachers that we filed the waiver on this year, 36 were also on the waiver last year. So our goal is to see that number decrease even more. We do require these teachers to complete an 8-hour professional development course online. So they'll learn about comprehensible input, creating a language-rich classroom, and also as a district, we offer an ESL Academy that helps these teachers prepare for that ESL certification test. And then we do reimburse their testing fees once they pass that test. Our dual language programs, these are housed at Harvell, Bean, and McWhorter, where the goal is for our students to become bilingual and biliterate. So how do our students get into these programs? When they enroll in school, they fill out that home language survey. If Spanish is listed as their language, our tester, Ms. Chris, goes out and gives a pre-loss or loss assessment that's in listening, reading, speaking, and writing. We talk to the parents after that assessment. We go over their results. We talk about a recommended program and placement for them. If they're not zoned for Bean, Harwell, or McWhorter, then we will transport them. We provide busing to the closest campus to them. We do offer bilingual and ESL summer school to our kindergarten and first grade students each year. And we are really just focusing on language development and essential knowledge and skills. They have to be identified as an emergent bilingual, and there are incoming kindergarten students and our incoming first grade students. Our teachers are required to have 120 hours of instruction, so it's about 4 weeks of our summer school program. And we do give a pre and post test to monitor their growth. Over the past 3 years, we've seen a growth in our summer school attendance. So the last summer, 23-24, we had 60 students. This past summer, we had over 100 students. So that is amazing to promote that summer school for our kids. And then I wanted to end with just some great things that our program's been doing. We still offer our Latino family literacy classes to parents to help them learn English. I think she's been doing this for over 10 years. It's Miss Niobe Martinez and Juanita Rodriguez. They host these classes at McWhorter Elementary. So they teach these parents how to read, but they also teach them reading strategies that they can use at home with their children. This year, there's about 6 parents that consistently go. Some parents come in and out, but it's amazing to see their growth and their dedication as well. Our dual language committee. We have started a dual language committee led by Misty and Cammie back here, and this is bringing together a whole lot of people into one room to talk about our dual language programs here. We're looking at the department, the bilingual department, bilingual teachers, administrators, teachers, parents, board members, Texas Tech professors, all coming together to evaluate our programs right now. So as you know, we have 3 different bilingual schools that offer 3 different programs and 3 different models. So the goal is to have one dual language program model across Lubbock ISD. This was a goal that was set in place before I got here, but I think it's a great one, so I'm really excited to be a part of this. These meetings, we've done them once a month. Amazing participation. I think about 40 people show up each time. So far, we've gone over Chapter 89, which is the laws for our special population students. We've looked at one-way and two-way programs. We've analyzed the data from these different programs. And in January, we're going to look at what a 50-50 model is versus a 90-10 in hopes to come to a consensus for the 26-27 school year. ESL, our ESL specialist, has been working really hard this year. She's putting on TELPAS seminars at middle schools and high schools, and that is working with our EB students to look at the TELPAS assessment. She goes over what this test is. She gives some tips. TELPAS is a very unique assessment. It's not something they see. It's not like STAR. It's just very different. So we go over why they're taking it and how they can improve their scores there. We've also been working with admin to work on their closing the gap accountability points. So looking at how they can help their students increase TELPAS scores to increase those points as well. We still offer an ESL Academy to help teachers prepare for their ESL exam. And then we've purchased a new program called Boost, and it is a newcomer reading program. It replaced Imagine Learning that we used last year. It's a part of our Vista curriculum that we already use, and the goal is to boost their reading proficiency levels. I've gone in and seen a lot of students using it, and they actually really like it, and middle school and high school kids are very honest. So we're really happy with that one. And then we still have our newcomer classes at all of our middle and high schools, and we are just so proud of that because as students come in, we have a place for them, a safe place for them with students who speak a similar language and to get that support. Last but not least, we had the regional Spanish spelling bee at Texas Tech. From Lubbock ISD, we had 6 participating schools with 33 students. I think total there were over 60 students there. And 2 of our students placed. So we have a 2nd place winner from Ramirez and then 3rd place winner from Cavazos. And so now they have the chance to compete at the State Spanish Spelling Bee in El Paso next summer. Our mission statement has stayed the same, just to empower, advocate, and serve our emergent bilinguals, as well as those who serve them. So by respecting cultural and linguistic diversity. Our new bilingual team, there's 8 of us that make a lot of things happen. They've all been here. They've been very welcoming and amazing. So really enjoy being part of this team. And that is it. Thank you so much for having me and letting me go over the data, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can you talk a little bit about the emergent program, how students can get into the program when they first get it in, whether it's pre-K or kindergarten, and how that test is done?
To the immersion program at Ramirez or
Yes.
other schools? So
Well,
that
I
was,
like the others as well.
okay, so Ramirez is going to be their own separate test. They do the same one. They do the pre-loss English assessment, and it's a listening and speaking assessment just to ensure that the students are strong in their first language of English. So I think it's really more of a space thing at Ramirez. They do that on their own. We don't do that with them. And then it's the same thing for McWhorter, Bean, and Harwell. In pre-K, that's when we don't advertise it, but we start talking to parents if they want their students to be a part of the dual language program. And we do talk to a lot of those parents at pre-K Roundup. And so it's really just a matter of, hey, I want my kid in this program. And they get tested, and
Is that a state test? Okay, so that's mandatory.
Yeah.
That's what we were told, and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
the fact that, because they didn't realize that it was on their English, because if they're speaking English, they want to see, are they able to understand it first and foremost? If they can't understand it, the English, well, they're not going to be able to excel properly. And you know what? It was hard to explain that to him, and I don't remember if it was Margaret or somebody that explained it. She did a really good job, because there is a lot of parents that
Yeah.
want their kids, but they're struggling coming in as pre-K. So
Yeah. We just tell
It's
them
a
you have to be
great
strong in your
program.
first language. Mm-hmm.
that's important for them to start working with their kids now, if that's the route they want to go. Because everyone knows you got to start early to start learning Spanish. If you get a kiddo in 5th or 6th grade, it's difficult. It's not the same thing. It's just not. So, and I don't think that we educate our families enough in letting them know that we need to start doing that. I think that's important. Just like this year, we pushed it big time. You know, I think we did that all summer, just trying to get kids in those programs because they wanted to, but they were having issues in pre-K and classes being deleted, but then they were brought back at Harwell.
Yes,
So that's what I'm referring to. So there's a need, and I think that we all recognize that this year. So thank you for what you're doing. I've gone to the meetings and I've seen you work and I don't know how you do it, but you've done amazing things already. So
You mentioned the 2 students who were with the spelling bee? What were the other schools?
We had participants from, Bean didn't participate, Harwell, McWhorter, Ramirez, Adkins, Cavazos, and Hutch.
Thank you.
And you talked about the waiver. Is there a limit to the number of times a teacher can get that waiver?
I don't think so. And one thing I forgot to mention this year, TEA did add, which is brand new. When does this teacher anticipate taking the assessment, the BSL certification? So I had to go in and write the dates for everybody.
Okay.
So right now there's not a limit. My guess is that
that's coming?
eventually it'll come.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. So if we have a teacher that's taking it over and over, so does the district have a limit on that?
We do not, and I don't believe we do. But at some point, we would have to consider, can this teacher be an RI
Exactly.
teacher?
Right. Yeah, that was
Because our expectation as a district is that
Yeah.
all of our RI teachers
right.
obtain this certification.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Sarah, thank you. We welcome you here and really appreciate what you and your staff does for our community that's part of the bilingual and the ESL, and love what the new committee is doing with respect to trying to streamline everything to where maybe we can increase the offerings that we have at various, whether it's one school or several schools or what have you. So thank you very much.
Thank
But they
you.
all think that theirs is the best. That's all I ever hear when I go.
And again, volunteers.
But it's all gonna work.
Calling out again, thanking those volunteers for serving on those
Absolutely.
committees.
Moving on to the next item in our workshop, the 2026-2027 calendar development, my favorite subject. I would like to invite Beth Berridge, not to be
Name
confused with Bridges,
Bridges.
Executive
I
Director
know.
of Leadership and Professional Development, to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. We're glad to be here. And I know I say it every year, but it's hard to believe that it's already time to talk about this. It always sneaks up on us. So tonight we are going to not only bring 3 draft options, but we're also going to talk to you about our process and the feedback that we've received from the community and how we've responded to it. So I'm going to start just quickly by going over our timeline for this. We start with a subcommittee that is made up of volunteers from our DEIC, our District Educational Improvement Committee. And so they come together and we have several meetings. After the first one, where we kind of lay out the guidelines and the criteria, we develop a survey that is then sent out to families and staff. And then we return, review that feedback, which we'll share with you tonight, and have a couple of meetings drafting some calendars and narrowing it down before sharing it with our administrative teams here at Central Office. And then here we are tonight bringing them to you. And then we'll post them after tonight for public input. They'll have over the Christmas break to do that. And then we will come back to you in January and bring forward a calendar that you can consider for approval. So that is our quick overview of our timeline. And I'm going to turn it over to Amy Ayers. She has led our committee this semester. And so I'm going to let her share with you what that has looked like and share the drafts with you.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, so our subcommittee was made up of 35 members. We had 9 central office employees, 13 teachers, 4 parents, 3 community members, and 6 campus administrators. So we try to have a good, diverse population. Requirements that we have based on state law and board policy is that all calendars must have 187 staff days and a minimum of 75,600 minutes for students. Additionally, we have lots of things that we have to consider, but it is important to us to make sure that we're honoring all of our stakeholder feedback as best we can. We do have to follow numerous guidelines that do impact our flexibility as a committee. That's always a surprise to those that serve because they think, oh, we're going to come in here and get to do all the fun things with the calendar. There's not a lot of flexibility there. But some of these guidelines are due to our distinction as a district of innovation, as well as UIL eligibility guidelines. So the feedback survey that went out between October 30th and November 4th, I'm going to share some of the results from that. We had a total of 2,767 responses. And you can see that the majority of those responses were from parents. We asked our staff members which level best describes their work location, and the majority were at elementary, which aligns with the percentage of our employees that are at elementary campuses. And then which campuses your children attend. We had the majority from elementary, but good representation from all levels. This question asked people to rank their preference for goals days, and this shows that most respondents preferred that the goals day be a full day on a Friday attached to a long weekend. And all 3 calendar options you'll be presented with have that, reflect that request. And I'll give you just a moment to look over these other considerations when developing the school calendar and how our constituents felt. Well, you're segueing right into the next slide.
That would.
But we can
Oh,
see.
it is in California.
I love Maryland.
Yeah, I did
I'm
too.
with you. You'd have my vote.
You can see that the holidays are important, and then just being strategic with our teachers and their planning and the opportunities for professional development. We got a lot of feedback that we wanted to go ahead and address in some ways that answer the types of questions that you just posed. And so this slide, I'll kind of go through each one with you. The first one, I'm gonna need my glasses for this one, is teachers would like a day off in October and February. In this calendar this year, one of those was a work day and one of them was a holiday. Luckily, the way the calendar falls next year, all 3 calendar options do provide that in both October and February. A request for a long weekend between spring break and testing. Due to the Easter holiday being at the end of March this year, there is a long weekend between spring break and the STAR test in all 3 options. A request for a day off after Halloween. All 3 calendars do provide the Monday, November 2nd as a holiday. Day off after Easter. All 3 options have the Monday after Easter as a weather day. So unless there was a need to use those minutes, we should be able to have that. Fall break. All 3 calendar options do contain a fall break. The lengths are a little bit different for each one. And then they asked if we could align fall break and spring break with daylight savings time. And both calendars do that, or all 3, calendars do that both in the fall and in the spring. Considering days other than Mondays for holidays, because most of the holidays that we have are federal holidays that fall on Mondays, that's something that's a little bit challenging, but some of our calendars do provide some different days off. And then starting later in August, we do have one calendar option that provides for a later start date, August 6th for staff and August 19th for students. And I'll show you those in just a moment. Some people would like to, we've in the past, I guess last year's calendar, we had Election Day as a holiday. And so that was a request. Calendar C does provide that day as a holiday, and that will be Tuesday, November 3rd, following that Monday, November 2nd holiday. Ending the school year before Memorial Day, it is a priority to make sure that we end before Memorial Day, and that is our graduation weekend. And so all 3 calendars reflect that option. There was questions about the MLK and President's Day, and so again, all 3 calendar options will have those as holidays this year. And starting school after Labor Day, your favorite question. So unfortunately, we can't do that with the way that we have to end prior to Memorial Day, so it can, with the guidelines that we're given of the 187 days and the minimum number of minutes. Consider not placing all holidays on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th weekend so that parents with different custodial weeks have equal time off with their children. And so that we do have so many different family situations in our district, and so that is something to consider, and all of the calendars do have holidays on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th weekends. And then needing more snow days. This one we should have enough banked minutes to cover potential weather delays, and that those snow days are not determined by the minutes, they're determined by the weather. So, and any questions about those things before I move on? Some of the input from the survey went beyond the duties of our committee, and so we did compile those questions and have some answers to them, and we will post that on the website with the 3 calendar options in case they have additional questions. So you should have a copy of all 3 calendars. We've got option A, option B, and option C. And if you'll pull those out, I'm just going to go over the highlights for each of those options. So calendar A, it has 187 staff days, 77,740 student minutes. There are 7 work days for staff prior to the start of school. Students would begin on August 12th in the fall and January 6th in the spring. Both semesters end with Thursday half-days for students and extended weekend holidays for staff during that winter break time. That calendar has 1 staff day after winter break, and February 12th, March 12th, May 3rd, and May 28th are staff work days. April 29th and 30th are the weather days. Option B. Option B has 187 staff days, 77,280 student minutes, 9 work days for staff prior to the start of school. Students begin on August 19th in the fall and January 6th in the spring. Both semesters end with Friday half-days for students. 2 staff days are provided after winter break. February 16th and May 4th are staff days, and May 3rd is a staff student holiday. C, or option C, I'll go back so you can see it. This calendar has 187 staff days, 78,200 student minutes, 7 work days for staff prior to the start of school. Students begin August 12th in the fall and January 6th in the spring. The fall semester ends with a Friday half-day for students. The spring semester ends with a Thursday half-day for students. November 3rd, the election day, is a staff student holiday. There are 2 staff days after the winter break. And then February 16th and March 12th are your staff days, and May 3rd and 4th are both staff student holidays. So the 3 options have some similarities, but also some differences. And then the survey will begin tomorrow, where families can give their feedback and vote on their favorite option, and that survey will be open from December 12th to January 5th.
They're going to shoot for the
Do what?
They're going to shoot for the 19th.
And how is that survey, because with the break, how is that communicated? That might be an Amanda question.
It'll be a Qualtrics survey, and it will go out from,
So it'll go through email to everyone?
yes, to everyone.
We have messaging prepared to send out tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, good job.
And when parents look at this, they say, well, there's really no days off in April. Why is that?
That's because that's when the state has set testing. Yes, so we have
Exactly.
to
That
protect
is
those
a
days for
note, just remind
testing.
Does it have it on there that it's testing? I didn't see that either. I'm glad you.
It does not say that, but we can add a line to that so that that's reflected.
I want to share that I'm sure this is going to be in the questions that are outside of the scope of this committee on the webpage. But one piece of feedback that we often get back, particularly from staff, is that we consider a 4-day work week and school week. And just a couple of notes about that. There's really no research right now that shows that having less time in school is going to improve student outcomes, so that is a concern. It's also a concern about the number of students that we serve who are economically disadvantaged, and they count on school for those meals and wraparound services. So those are 2 big concerns. A third concern that I have not shared with you guys yet is something that we've just more recently learned, but the state has now said that when you apply for any state grant, such as the LASSO grants that we submitted applications for last week, if you do a 4-day work week, you move to the bottom of consideration. So school districts who have moved to a 4-day work week are now panicking because they're probably not going to get those grant dollars. And we rely heavily.
Like Slayton, they do that.
So they will be moved to the end of the
Well,
consideration list.
yeah, that's definitely, that's all.
Good to know.
Yes, that is good. But more importantly, I'm curious to see how the other folks are doing, you know, the data. Is there any way of us ever getting that data from them schools?
If you know which school districts are doing a 4-day work week, you can
Well,
go
Slayton
to.
is down the road.
You can go to their accountability
Yeah,
website
yeah.
and look them up.
Will you guys be able to do that? Are you guys, yeah, because I just,
I don't know for sure which districts are 4-day and which aren't. It's all for the. I don't think there's any urbans who are. It's a recruitment strategy for small rural teachers.
Yeah, teaching. Yeah, and that grant.
I'm not going to comment on Slayton, but I'm going to
Right,
just share
right,
that.
no,
no.
well, I know God
When
loves
you
so-
talk to superintendents that have moved to that, every one of them says it's about recruiting teachers.
Bless you.
It's not about students. It's
Good
about
to know.
recruiting.
That's,
But that, yeah,
That
That-
is a
thank you.
new
Yeah.
nuance to that. That is, when I was in a
Get your
superintendent
attention.
meeting with Region 17 superintendents yesterday, there are several in the room who are very, very frustrated about that.
Kathy, that grant money, how much is that grant money? Ballpark?
Millions of
Ooh-wee.
dollars.
We're gonna
And
go
some of
6 days
them-
if we have to go, okay?
Some are more competitive than others, but as we shared with you guys in a previous meeting, we have applied for multiple LASSO grants. And
Thank you.
Any other questions on the calendar or comments?
You mentioned about the feedback, December the 12th to,
The January 5th.
okay, thank you.
And they'll have multiple reminders over the Christmas holiday as well.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
we still have a week of school before the holiday, so hopefully parents and staff will take care of their votes before then.
We appreciate y'all's work, and Beth, as always, my comment isn't to disparage your committee. Just tell me when I need to show up and when we're done.
That's right.
We'll be there. We don't have some, place in the Hamptons that we go to every summer. I guess there's families that do, but yeah, we just need some dates. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys, great job.
Moving on, first reading of some fantastic material. TASB Policy Update 126. I'd like to invite Misty Reber, Chief Academic Officer, back to the podium.
Thank you for having me. So we are going to do our first reading of Update 126. I know I patted my binder on the way up here kind of jokingly, but that is the legal update, printed front and back. You are welcome to read any portion that you would like, or I'm happy to read it to you. John and I have been joking, we're going to read it line by line, but we're not. So when we think about our timeline, we're doing first reading. We had student achievement meeting earlier this week where we're reviewing tonight. We have TBD on the board approval for when we will bring this for vote. That is because, as you can see, the magnitude of legal and local, there are some things tonight that I'm going to say we're still finding some more information out on that, or we're getting clarification. We also want to give you a chance to digest and a chance to ask questions, and we don't want to rush you through that process. So we know this will be at a coming board meeting when we all feel ready and you feel like it's time. So what we're going to do for this one, it's going to look a little bit different than what we've done in the past because the legal is so intense from the 89th legislation. I'm going to show you a legal overview for each section. So we're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm going to show you an overview for what's in legal. I'll give you talking points for what is in legal, and then I'm going to actually review local. You'll notice when I review local, it's either going to have a green check mark, which is an indication that we've already done it, it's great, the way it is, it's perfect, or it's going to have a pause button. The pause button is either we are still working on it, or you need to think about a language change that we are recommending, and if you want to make that language change that might be a little bit different than what TASB gave us in their recommendation. So when we look at A and we think about things to consider, A is covering accountability requirement changes. It is covering DOI and the fact that DOI, or District of Innovation, will have changes based upon some of these. And then the Educator Misconduct Portal, which is the new portal the state has stood up where you have to report educator misconduct. You'll see many of the things are going to be repeated over and over again because they come up in multiple different sections of legislation. There are no local updates in A, so you can celebrate. That's going to be our fastest and easiest section. On to B. B has board governance, operating procedures, board meetings, and superintendent qualifications. So things to consider in this one. B contains the Parent Bill of Rights. It contains information about DEI that is no longer allowable, either in contracts or in teaching or conversation. And then it has many rules about board meetings and what would take place. For example, you'll see things that you got to experience and do tonight. So for example, BE local, this has that you had to either raise hands or roll call when you were voting. This has also our time change, moving to the evenings at 5 o'clock. This also has that public comment will need to be moved to be at the beginning of the meeting. Student recognitions can still come first, but then public comment will need to be the next thing on the agenda meeting if we have public comment. So that has a pause, although you've already moved through some of those things tonight. We're moving toward a check mark, but as we just work through those things, we've got that on pause till we finalize some of those pieces. The next one is BED local. This is about public participation, and this specifically has about the public comment and the order of where it has to come inside the meeting. Next is C. C is business and support services, contracts, fiscal management, and facilities. C has a lot of updates. A big chunk of that binder is C. Some things to consider when we think about C. This has the posting of the 10 Commandments in our classrooms. It has changes in instructional material requirements. It has changes in bonds, changes in cybersecurity and training. This has the SB 8 bathroom bill. This has changes in artificial intelligence and where it's in policy. We were ahead of the game on that one. So the legal changes did not require changes inside of our district. We have to give a facility report to TEA on every facility in our district. We don't know yet what that will look like. They haven't come up with it yet. And then this also has the seatbelt law.
That's the utilization report,
Yes.
right? On
Who
facility.
rented the building or?
No, the capacity.
Oh, capacity.
And then we
Okay.
also think potential mapping and other, we're waiting to see. And then this also has the seatbelt law that we'll have to have seatbelts inside of our buses, and we're already working on, we've already started on that, yes. So that's all legal. Everything that you just heard is legal. So we don't have choice. It's just we make it happen. Then, so local, we have CJ local, which is contracted services. This is for every contractor that we work with. They cannot have a diversity, equity, or inclusion caveat or language inside their contract, or their contract will be terminated. This is CJA local, which just changes some of the language in the background check. So this was just a subtopic name, which isn't a significant change inside the bill. You'll notice these have check marks as we've already taken care of. The next one is CLE local on buildings, grounds, and equipment. This is actually about displaying flags and that you have to have flags in your building, the United States and Texas flag. We already have those in place, so that was already a check mark for us. CQ local is technology resources. This is about AI training in the district. We already had the committee. You already approved our processes and procedures, so we were ahead on this one. This is CQB local about cybersecurity. It moves who is in charge of cybersecurity for the state of Texas. This one, we don't know yet what the rules will be, but we'll follow them when given about where we have to report. It's not what we do in training, it's who we report to. This is CQD local. This is, again, artificial intelligence. So this was a new policy that was developed about what district employees and students can do with artificial intelligence. Again, you already approved the committee. We already did the work on this one, so we were ahead of the game. This is CSA local, which is facility standards and safety and security. This is known as the bathroom bill. This talks about the designation and use of private spaces. I do have a check mark on this one, but after some deep dive yesterday, we're still working on this one and trying to get some clarity if labeling is required on bathrooms to indicate if they are a private or public space. That is not in the bill, but some people are taking that into translation, so we're still doing a little digging, so we're gonna move this one back to a pause. And then this is CV local. This moves our competitive purchasing threshold. You actually had previously approved this one, so we were again ahead of the task for this one as well. D is about personnel and procedural rules. You can see D is also pretty long. When we think about things to consider for D, this has our policies and procedures around hiring, compensation, conflict of interest. We're going to talk about that more in just a minute. This one has background checks, DEI restrictions for what personnel can do and or teach, and then some minor pieces around CPR, some training, and AI pieces. This one has a little bit more information in the rights and grievances procedures, and I'll talk to you about that in local, about what we want to recommend on that for a change. For DBD local, this is about employment requirement and restrictions and conflict of interest. This is House Bill 3372, which you probably have heard a lot about people cannot serve in a role where they are making money and doing something that there's a conflict of interest. I've actually talked to TASB Legal today about this to clarify some things. For example, if we were using something in contract that you had already approved the contract for an outside source that was for one of our employees, you don't have to do anything different. It was already approved. We actually don't have any examples of this currently in our district. We don't have anything that we are using. The conflict of interest forms that we file already that are part of our HR process of a person teaches at the university or something else is not part of HB 3372 and is not in jeopardy of that. So we are good with the language that is written in this one, but we just wanted to get some more clarification. This is DEC local. This talks about the Family Medical Leave Act and adjusts so that the daily pay rate is what employees are given or is taken out. We had already made arrangements for this at the beginning of the year, so this one's already done. This is about term contract and non-renewal. This is about not only disability, but also about assigning diversity, equity, and inclusion duties, that if you have assigned those inside your district, you can be held liable, and we do not have any of those assigned. This is DGBA local. This is about employee complaints and grievances. The one shift that we would like to make in all complaints and grievances that you'll hear me say over and over again is we would like to move from calendar days to business days. It will allow the complainant to have a longer period of time, but will also allow us as a district to respond and to not be held liable for holidays. If we leave it at calendar days and someone files a grievance right before we go on Christmas break, then our personnel would be expected to work over the break to respond because calendar days keep on going. If we can move those to business days, that would allow them to still honor and take those holidays. We have recommendations from legal, and they said that's very appropriate as it gives the complainant a longer period of time also. So, DH local is about employee standard of conduct. This is, again, about prohibited diversity, equity, and inclusion, and employees also cannot talk about social transitioning. It also talks about relationships with students. It talks about the education portal, the misconduct portal, and reporting. And all of that is already in our employee handbook, already in practices and procedures that we've moved forward with. E is curriculum, instruction, grading, and parents' rights. So the Parent Bill of Rights is in. You notice E is also pretty long. Things to consider in this one, we have to publicly make available all course syllabi for teachers. If y'all remember, back last summer, we posted those online so that all parents can see those. Our teachers cannot teach DEI. I think I've already said that more than once. This has the library procedures. We also have to stand up a local classroom review procedure where a parent can ask for a local classroom review. The policy has not yet given us full guidance on that, but we're working on that one. This also says that parents can request lesson plans. We already have that up. It has their full parent rights. And then it has some revisions on consent. So parents have the right to consent for everything for their child. What does that look like as far as student clubs and other pieces? And we've already put those in place. So EEP local is around instructional arrangements. This is the component that you have to have instructional plans, have to be presented before the school year starts. We left this on pause because we're reevaluating what we did last summer to see if it's the best way to move forward for the future and if it will work in a continuous basis. The next one is, I think I skipped one, sorry. No, sorry. This is EFA. This is instructional resources and materials. This is that we have to have a public space that parents can request to review any instructional materials. It's called a local classroom review. We will have a form posted on our website in the near future as soon as we see the final exemplar from the state agency, and then a parent can make a request to review any material. But as of right now, our policy already allows them to do that. They can request anything at any time, and our teachers already make that happen. This is EHBAF. This is about video and monitoring. This updated the time frame to match the child abuse time frame that we've already put in place and have already taken care of this. This is EIA, about grading and progress reports. This is updated that parents have to be afforded the opportunity to parent in-person conferences a year. As you know, we have an on-the-calendar goals day, we have an open house night, and then we also have an open door policy that parents can request a parent-teacher conference that we offer PLCs and conference time to support at any time inside of our district. This is F, which is all about parental rights. When you look at this one and you consider that one of the pieces is FNA. FNA explains that you may adopt a period of Bible study or prayer to be designated in all campuses at a designated time. As the board, you have the authority. It is not a shall, but a may. And then it also goes on to express the individual rights of parents that they have, and we'll talk about what that looks like in just a minute. So some things to consider on this one. This talks about curriculum changes. There is a requirement that we teach about communism or and then anti-Semitism. We don't know yet what that will look like and what courses those will be a part of and what the expectation will be, but we'll be given those from the state agency, from TEA. This has about child abuse and the reporting in 24 hours. This took away our District of Innovation around vaping and eliminated that program as part of House Bill 6. This has the board having to express or decide if you want to give the time of prayer. This allows for religion classes. You can have an excused absence. And then this also has the component where you had to vote about homeschool participation. So all of that is inside this section. So for FA local is the parent rights and responsibilities. This is that we establish a parent portal on the district website where parents can submit comments to either administrators or to the board. Because your email addresses and our principals' email addresses are public record and are published on our website, they have the opportunity to share that with you. This does say, and I'm going to read, the board shall develop a plan for parental participation in homework, school attendance, and discipline. It does not give a timeline for when you shall create that plan, but we know that once you adopt policy, that will be something that we'll need to work with you on, and you have to make that a public plan that you share back out with the community. Stop me at any time. FEF local, this is that there can be release time according to SB 1049 for private education that is religious education. There are rules about how often it can happen. It can be on a weekly basis. It has hour limitation inside of it, and then things that we have to follow as part of that process. This is FFAC. This is wellness and health services and medical treatment. This is that our nurses and non-school employees are allowed to give non-prescription medication, but this also has the component, remember we had to have parents sign off that they allow their student to be seen by the nurse, and then we're working so that y'all know to get that into our online registration system for next year. This is part of House Bill 2, FFB local, that we have to provide notification to the teaching staff when a threat has been made on the campus. We already were in compliance with this prior to this year. This is FFF local. This is that you have to provide notice if a employee is alleged to have engaged in misconduct. This is, we already have this in part of our system that we already share. It has a timeline built in, and that's something that we already do. This is FFG local. This changed the timeline for making a report for child abuse. We've already put this in place since the beginning of the school year, and reduced that from 48 hours to 24. This is F&G local. The reason this is on pause, we have already put all of the timelines in for student and parent complaints and grievances. However, we would like to shift from calendar to business on this also. It will allow the complainant a longer period of time to grieve. Those timelines are now dictated by the state and are extended. The grievant has a longer period of time. We have a shorter period of time for response. And the timeline for if it is a level 3 when it has to come to the board is now shortened and is named. So it's no longer up to you to decide that. FO local is student discipline, and this is just some minor edits about making audio and video available. All right, we're on the home stretch, y'all. G is about contract services. This one is a little bit shorter. Things to consider in this one is about public information. Who can request that? It's not making big shifts to that, but it talks more about what you can request as public information and then some contract services. This one talks about public complaints, and this goes back to SB 12, and our only piece on this one is, again, we would like to move from calendar to business days, which will allow people a longer period of time to make a public complaint and us a reasonable amount of time to respond. This is talking about handguns on school premises, and it just adds a caveat for a person who owns an out-of-state handgun license versus someone who owns an in-state handgun license and is approved by chief and has already fit what we're doing. That is the end of our policy update, 126 reading 1. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just the beginning.
Yes.
I just have a quick question in regard to the contracting. Since it was voted prior before all this, are those all legal in as far as the DEI's concerned?
We've had our purchasing department or procurement, has had to go back and double check, and we are we're working on some guidance to put a sentence in that just says, so new contracts will have that automatically. Old contracts, we had to put a sentence in that say you agree and accept that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then if a company does not agree to that, specifically a company from outside of the state of Texas, no one in Texas is allowed to use them any longer. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Question on the business days. do we need to specifically state school business days? So
Yes, sir, we can. Our TASB legal has said that we're okay because that's an assumption, but I agree with what
I
you're
don't like
saying.
that,
Yeah,
'cause
I agree.
That way parents or
Yeah.
whoever knows, as opposed
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
'Cause to the rest of the world, business day is Monday through Friday unless it's a federal holiday.
Absolutely.
Verbiage is clear.
And on those, because it's local policy, we will make the recommendation for the language change that we want, so we can put that in.
Okay.
Absolutely.
As far as colleagues reviewing the red line that you sent, I think it was in the packet for the committee that already met. You guys met
Yes.
on Monday, Tuesday. Are you trying to shoot for the 22nd board meeting? Or are you trying to shoot for February so I can make sure?
I don't want to rush you.
Yeah.
And so if the January board meeting seems acceptable to you, that's great. If we need to delay until February, we are within our timelines. We're safe within our timelines. So I want you to have as long as you need. This is legal, but to review the local red line, it's only this long. So that is a little bit more reasonable. These you cannot choose.
Yeah.
These you
I love
can
that we're
actually
Said and done.
choose. So I will say though, some of the policies in here have up to 10 pages of red and blue lines that are changes. So it is not a quick and easy read. So if you need until February, that's great. I'm happy to bring it back again to answer more questions.
And we have a workshop in January as well as a board
On the
meeting.
8th.
So we could bring it back to that workshop if that's what you prefer, and then,
I would just ask
Yeah.
colleagues to, if you're concerned about local, please review it and bring questions on the 8th
okay,
for
Yeah.
us to discuss.
absolutely.
That
That's
gives
great.
everybody those issues that may be important to them, they can bring forward, we can discuss, and then depending on the outcome, maybe the 22nd.
That's great. That's
Those are
great.
the ones that were already.
They'll be in your update
ma'am.
every week until.
That's good to know.
And just so that you guys know, first, thank you, Misty.
Yeah.
Tremendous lift and tremendous talking to colleagues from across the state to see how others are handling some of these things we're still trying to interpret some things. But tremendous thanks to Misty. But also the legal, because we don't have a choice in what we adopt from that, but we do have to comply with it. And so our team, everybody in this room plus many, many others, divided this depending on their area to make sure that what we are doing in practice aligns with the new legal policy. So
And I've
many thanks to our team.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Misty, for leading the charge. I've heard somebody say this session, there were twice as many changes to public education. And looking in that notebook, I don't know, but it's three times as many.
Our TASB consultants told us it's the largest they have ever had in the history of their organization.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big lift. And I just want to reiterate what Dr. Rillo said. These people out here have all worked to read, study. They have tabbed, highlighted. They're doing a lot of work because each page represents a system and a process they have to put in place.
And has implications on children.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you all for everybody's.
Misty, can I ask about the the board creating a plan that you spoke about, the
Yes, sir.
parent responsibility? Is that a legal or local change?
That, it's in both. It has legal in it. And so, yes, it's required. We cannot strike it through to say that we won't do it. It doesn't have any language around accountability, expectation, length. It literally just lists those three topics and says that it will be a board-developed plan.
And TEA told us that they would develop an exemplar, but we have not, that has not been provided yet. So we'll have something to kind of help guide us and guide you in decision-making around it, but we have not seen that yet.
And our Title I Federal Programs Division that works a great deal with parents, does all pro dads, all of those pieces, they're also volunteering to help kind of process that and help you work and develop on something as well. So
But it's a plan for parental involvement, correct?
it is a plan for parental involvement, and it has to
involved
address
right now.
those three characters.
listening.
Yeah, it has to be homework, attendance, and discipline, have to be your three components.
Fun.
Dr. Rolo, do we have need for an executive
We
closed session?
do.
Okay. Just for those in the audience, I do not expect any action to be taken. You're welcome to stay here, just so that way you're not upset when we get back, gavel out.
So go home.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Or go eat.
An executive closed session will be held under the provision of Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. It is 6:50 p.m., and we are adjourned to closed session.